This is Mondays with Wallace. I am Wallace. I'm coming to you every Monday from Los Angeles. We are live from Los Angeles, Culver City specifically, at the Power Voices Studios. We are here chatting with you about cannabis. We talk every Monday about cannabis, all things cannabis, cannabis this, cannabis that. We are live on Facebook. You can get us on YouTube. We are on, what else are we on? We're on SoundCloud also. My name is Wallace. You can reach us at 424-227-9461. Thanks for listening. You're in for a wildly 60 minutes. We call this LA Flight 420 out of Los Angeles. I'm here today with Carol Lemire. Hello, Carol. How are you?
Good, good.
Carol is beautiful as ever. Always appreciate Carol. This week, Carol, you know, I'm going to the Grammys. So that's kind of a big thing. I'm really excited about it. Have you ever been to the Grammys?
Sure, I worked at them.
Oh, you worked at the Grammys?
Yeah, all the time. When you have an artist you work with, you're there. But you want to be backstage. You don't want to sit in the audience.
I'm going to be backstage.
That's where you want to be. That's where the fun is.
That's where I'm going to be. Well, I went and got a tuxedo. Is tuxedo a mandatory thing at
No.
It's not a mandatory thing?
Not with music, no.
You should have one on.
I should have a tuxedo on?
You gotta look official.
Is that right?
Yeah, you can't look
Official for what? This is the Grammys.
Well, it's the Grammys. My son-in-law,
you know what?
Walter
Go
Jones.
online and pull up fashion, and that'll tell you what you should wear.
Now, what about weed? Can I bring weed? Now, I don't smoke. Now, you know I don't smoke.
No.
But are people going to expect me to have weed?
No, they're not.
They're not going to expect me to have weed, even though they know I've got my whole Mondays.
You know what? If Snoop Dogg's there, honey, you won't have to worry about it. It'll be there. It'll be there, definitely.
Well, I feel
Just
like
go
my
there
weed.
and enjoy yourself. Go there if you're backstage the whole time, so you don't have seats down in the audience.
I
You don't
don't
want it
know.
anyway, because a lot of times what they do, and it's. Are you going for sound checks? Because you'll enjoy that more than the show.
Oh, I'll enjoy the sound check.
Yes, you will, because they rehearse during the day. They have sound checks. So
I can just.
think Walter doesn't he have an artist that's up?
He has an artist that's up.
So he would probably get there early because she's going to want a sound check. You'll enjoy the sound checks.
Yeah,
I always did. I always like being backstage because that's where it's really happening, because they have what they call seat warmers.
Well,
There are people
I don't want to be a seat
literally
warmer.
fill in seats.
I don't want to be a seat warmer.
You're not going to be a seat warmer. If you understood what I was saying, when the artists all want to be backstage talking and partying,
I can just hear him now.
They put seat warmers in there.
Mr. Peoples, you'll be sitting over here. I can just hear him now.
The Grammys work this way. It's BYOW.
What is BYOW?
Bring your own weed.
Is that right? So I should bring my own weed?
Bring your if you're gonna smoke it, if you
Long
just
as
gonna
you're not going to
walk
smoke,
around.
Was that why?
know
I don't
you're
smoke, but
then don't.
well, I don't want to.
you
But
don't
should I
wanna
have
get
my?
busted
But
on
what in
something.
case?
No.
But
No.
everyone's going to know I'm the Mondays with Wallace
Absolutely
guy.
Not, no.
Well, that's all right. You know, but you're not participating, and you're not.
I've worked at the Grammys for years, and I used to smoke. I never brought anything with. It's there. It will be there.
You know, it's really supposed to be exciting.
Can I have your gift, though? That I
Oh,
hope
you can
get
have
a
my gift.
Your gift bag.
Well, I have to see what the gift bag is.
Oh.
But they have a brunch at the Four Seasons that morning. So
Who's throwing that party?
I don't know, but I know
That's
I'm
what you want
attending
to
that.
do. You want to get into the parties.
Exactly.
And I'm sure with Walter you will be. And is his label throwing a party? I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
You'll
So,
have fun at that.
I just want to make sure when they call me, Mr. Peoples, we wanted to thank you, Mr. Peoples. And when I walk up, when I walk up to the stage, I just don't.
What makes you think you're walking to the stage?
Wallace.
Why wouldn't I be walking to the stage?
Wallace? You're
dreaming.
delusional.
You're dreaming.
You've been back there in the pharmacy room too long.
Yeah, what
Some
have
of
you
those
been
narcotics
sniffing?
have gotten in your system.
Let's talk
You don't-
about
you don't-
this
you don't- you don't-
rapper guy. I
Well,
find it very interesting.
Yeah, well, actually,
Because
21
everybody
Savage,
thought he
I
was
believe.
from Atlanta, but it sounds like they might be messing with him because it sounds like his name, he might be Muslim. His real name is Shahya bin Abraham Joseph.
21 Savage, is that
And
correct?
he's been
Yeah.
there since he's been in Atlanta for a long time, but he never renewed his visa.
But I understand, I thought he was from Atlanta.
No, he isn't.
He's not
A
from
lot of
Atlanta.
people, they
Not
said
originally,
thought that.
yeah. He's from London
UK.
somewhere, isn't it?
He's
So-
from the UK.
The
Yeah.
UK?
Yeah.
So they're messing with him, and that's probably somebody that's with another label that doing some dirty pool on him.
Mm-hmm.
See, because he's up for an award, isn't he?
He is. He is.
Yeah,
He's up for an
so
award.
that's probably what that's about. But they can go live
That's some
and have
hating.
him. But he hasn't been sent back yet.
Yeah.
He might get to stay.
Well, I would think, if he's up for an award, it's my feeling that they're going to give him a pass of
I
some
don't know,
type.
that guy with the Oscars, that Roma thing, they didn't give nobody a pass.
Well,
Well, you know what though? Listen, let's really dig into this situation. The young man is here from the UK. His visa ran out. What the hell is his management team doing? They're not looking out for his best interests. They need to make him do these things. See, dysfunctional management, dysfunctional
'cause
family
he entered
members.
Here legally.
I'm sorry?
He entered this country legally at
no, he entered legally.
Legally, he came in
Entered
on
legally.
a work visa.
But in 2014, he was convicted of a felony drug charge, and that's where they're going to get him.
Okay, well,
So- Are management styles different now? So since there's so much self-publishing, do you really need a manager? Because I'm thinking maybe he doesn't have
well, maybe
a manager
he doesn't.
or
And that's
Oh, you definitely need a manager. You don't need
Yeah.
a record company. It's starting to prove. Eventually, I think record companies won't exist.
records companies
no, they
will
won't,
not
because
exist.
the only thing right now they have is really radio.
Mhm.
But they don't exist like they used to. Lee's a good one to talk to about that because he worked in radio for years, and it's not the same.
Well, the way the record business works today, the record companies, the few that are still around, and the majors, they cut deals with all the major radio station corporate bosses. So the days of spending a couple $100 to get a record played doesn't exist anymore. There are hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars being sent directly to the radio stations from the record labels in the form of promotion and added value, blah, 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 blah. Then the corporate bosses, the vice president of programming for these radio stations, dictate to the stations within his or her format. Let's say you got 350 top 40 radio stations. So the vice president of programming for that format has a conference call with those radio stations on a weekly basis and dictate to them what they're going to play, what they're going to add, what they're going to drop, blah, 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 because the deal has already been struck at the corporate level, not at the radio station level. The program director and the handful of music directors that might exist anymore don't have any autonomy, no power to add a record. Yeah, there are a couple of smaller stations, yeah. But for the major stations, like a KISS here in L.A. or 106 or 92.3,
How does the average low person on the totem pole, how do they get their music played?
luck
Is that
and
right?
hits.
Yeah, like
Lucky.
Chance the Rapper. He's not with the label. They
Yeah.
would love to have him.
But he has
Is that right?
he has access to a lot of funds to market and promote his work.
Yeah, but
You know,
there's
his family
others,
has
too,
money.
that don't. And a lot of them, I think a manager would be more important than a label lately.
Okay.
They don't want to give any money. They don't give a lot of money now.
Can we talk about Sky, by the way?
No.
No, we cannot. Okay.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about the movie that's coming out.
No, but she always impressed me. Sky Lemire, her granddaughter.
No, it's
she,
Ferreira.
Sky Ferreira. Forgive me. She always impressed me as being a really hard worker, and she was
is
successful.
a hard worker, and
she had some
doesn't-
success.
She doesn't, like her first album,
Right.
she paid for most of that with her modeling money because they wanted her to do all this Katy Perry type stuff, but that's not Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Sky can actually sing. Nobody has to sing for her on the album, and she doesn't lip sing. So she's
try him
had a
again,
lot
Lou?
of heartaches with it because
Let me try him again.
they didn't push her the way they should because she's stubborn.
Yeah.
And also, she's the one that gets people involved with her. She goes after the stuff. I just seen a lot of stuff she's doing right now, so she is getting ready to come out real soon. But it's just tough.
it is hard.
Even her,
I know it's
her
hard.
videos, she got people to shoot those for almost nothing. Now, when the record company got more involved, they put all this money in there, but she didn't need that. Her first videos were shot for like $10,000, and 2 of them were shot with a lot of money, but the other ones or shot from us, nothing. But she made these directors big.
Quay
They're now
does,
huge.
he shoots, right? No?
Well, he just did a huge video. He just directed for one of the Korean girls. And he's got another one he's getting ready to direct. And that video just hit 2 million something. And that's with no press.
Wow.
But he directed that. And the good thing about him is, because he's a trained photographer and all that, he knows his lighting.
I see.
And he knows where he wants stuff, which to me is beneficial if a director does know photography in that. Plus, your new photographers and directors, they know how to edit and what they want edited, and they know what they want. They know how to clean stuff up. Your older directors never had to do any of this. I think he's met your son-in-law.
Oh, probably.
Yeah,
Walt
he
knows.
has.
Walt drives around. We'll be driving around, and he'll just see people, and that's that person.
Well, actually, because I didn't know he was your son-in-law the day, I kept saying, walk the dog.
That was funny.
He himself will tell you, they know when somebody can do something.
Yeah.
Because with Sky, when she stepped out there, they thought they all were getting a Britney Spears. They were looking at how she looked. She could sing.
How's
Can
she
I
doing?
tell you something? None of them even asked her to sing except Sony.
Oh, is that right?
But she had already signed with EMI and that. But
Is that who she signed with now?
she's
Emma?
with Capitol. She's with
Capitol?
Capitol and I think Polly something in London. But every label in the world wanted her. I can honestly tell you that. But
Yeah.
she's had some bad luck because she's stubborn. And
Well.
that,
Yeah,
actually,
I
when
wonder
she
how this-
got
how-
her deal, record companies didn't even know what social media
I wonder how
was.
this 21 Savage kid's going to do.
I think he's going to do good, but I was reading about him. He actually was in the car with somebody.
Exactly. He
that
wasn't
had
even
drugs.
the target. Sorry.
He was in the car, and that's how he got a case on him. But they didn't know at the time, anybody didn't know that he wasn't born in Atlanta because he hung there. His name 21, there's actually a gang called that in Atlanta. But I think it's kind of messed up that all of a sudden they want to mess with him. But probably the other record company did some research.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I
But
wonder
it
who
don't
is
matter.
21
It
Savage
won't
signed with,
stop
I
it
wonder.
from blowing up.
Do you think he'll be at the Grammys this week?
They picked him up. I don't know.
I don't think I think he bailed out. I don't think
I'm
he's
sure he'll be
still
there.
in jail.
Yeah. Do you think when I
February 4th, his lawyer's trying to get him out.
Oh, he's still in.
It says, I'll read it.
when I go to the Grammys, can I take pictures with people?
If they let
Yeah,
you,
Sky
sure.
did when she was little.
Do you just do the whole selfie
No,
thing?
you asked them. Say,
They
you
do
mind
it.
if I take a picture with you? And I'll tell you what to do, too. What Sky was real good at this as a little kid. She would pretend she was with them, but she really wasn't. When she would go to events, like festivals, Sky has all these pictures when she's a little kid, like 12, where she makes it look like she's in the picture with them.
Really?
But you won't have to do that because I took her to something once, and everybody was good about when she said, "Can I take a picture with you?" And if they're not doing something, they're fine. If they are, they'll just their bodyguards won't let you up near.
Yeah.
Lee'll tell you that.
Who do you think will be there that will? And I just love the whole entertainment, and this is my first time really in fact.
Well, because there's so many awards now,
Yeah.
people don't even watch them on TV.
I know.
They used to. They don't get a big audience. You'll see most people there. I like
It
that.
starts pretty early. Starts really early.
Yeah, because you're going to be sitting
It's
there.
an all-day thing,
Yeah,
You'll be there.
exactly. Yeah.
and it rotates between L.A. and New York.
Do you know what I was told for the Grammys? If anyone's just following me, I'm going to the Grammys this week at the invitation of my son-in-law Walter and Brittany Jones. So I was told you need to bring snacks because it's such a long affair.
No, they have craft service.
Craft service.
If you're with Walter, I'm sure you guys can use the craft
Well,
service.
you don't have to worry because I
with
assume you're going to
Walter.
have some kind of VIP access.
And she's going to
If you
have a
just
trailer.
if you're just sitting out in the audience, yeah, you better bring your little snack, bring a little baggie with
No,
you.
but his artist is going to have her own trailer, and She will request what she wants in that trailer.
Yeah, but he's
I've
not an
worked
artist.
behind the scenes, so I think I know quite a bit about it.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
You'll be able to.
But he's not
she'll
an
have
artist.
stuff.
He's not
But
associated
Yeah, but
with
he's
an artist.
with one of the people that are with the record company.
I understand
and I
that.
think it's his artist, if I'm correct.
If he
Is it
is
his
granted
artist?
that
Yes.
kind of access, but they don't.
I will be
it's-
getting
Oh
that
no,
kind.
Walter's
Okay.
going to make sure he gets that. He ain't going to bring him with and just throw him in the audience.
Well, if I see you out there on the corner, thumbing for a ride, I know you didn't
would
get
just
the
ask me.
access.
You have to be on the list. If it's you, is it just you he's bringing?
No, he's bringing Teresa, my wife Teresa, also.
Okay, you're going to be back there with him.
Yeah.
You should tell Walter. You should have had him call in and talk about the
Oh, yeah, I
Grammys.
would have loved to have had Walt come in.
I
Is it-
know
is
my
it this
son really
weekend
likes
coming?
this
This
artist.
Sunday.
Yeah.
This Sunday. Who do we have?
Wallace,
Hey, is this Alfie?
act like you've been there, okay? That's all you gotta do.
Well,
Act like you've been there.
I got to tell you, the one thing I
True.
do really well is act.
Yes.
that
He
is
is a
one
good
thing.
actor.
I am the pretender. that's for
You
sure.
don't have to bring your own socks either, okay?
Yeah. Alfie, have you ever been to an award ceremony like that?
Absolutely not. Nobody gives me awards for nothing.
Oh, come on.
I don't do nothing, okay?
Yeah, you do something, I'm sure. What about, have you lived in the LA area?
Nope.
Do you have a celebrity friend, cousin, relative?
Not that I know of, and if I did, they wouldn't call me.
Who was the last celebrity you saw?
I looked in the mirror this morning, and that was about it.
well, you're a celebrity to me, I'll tell you. One thing we were going to talk about on the show, by the way, was CBD oils. Did you know CBD oils are legal in much of the country? You can buy.
Legal,
You can
legal
actually.
nationwide.
They are. You can actually buy them in your pharmacies. You can go to local pharmacies, and CBD oils actually don't have cannabis. Or there is cannabis.
The high, you're getting high
Yeah.
properties.
They don't have the THC property.
Exactly. They don't have the THC properties, and they're becoming quite popular. And I'm wondering if this is a place where you can actually make money,
Of course, absolutely.
as opposed to, you really cannot make money now selling marijuana. You can do it, but you're doing it largely underground.
Well, that's where
Yeah,
they
if you
all
don't have
went.
a license, yeah.
But I don't think our society's trying to serve people underground.
Oh, yes, they are, because
Well,
they deliver to
Wallace,
you. I don't know
I
where
would
you've
just
been.
I would prefer people back up and look at the big picture. You've got hundreds of thousands of people in jail because it was deemed illegal, and their trafficking in that particular substance put them in the criminal line. So,
Is that a dog fight in the background?
no, that's my doorbell.
Are you kidding?
No, it's a doorbell. It's a Ring doorbell.
Oh, it sounded like a dog fight.
Yeah, but
Wear a
that's part of it.
tuxedo.
That's-
I
That's
just
part of the
pulled it
whole
up.
situation. And the dogs bark, and I know somebody's at the door aside from the ding dong.
Okay.
Well, so anyway, we're trying to figure out with these cannabis oils if that will be maybe the newer, maybe the newer vehicle for cannabis, because they're even trying to open up machines, like automated machines, where you can just buy the oils, and even edibles, you can just buy them from a machine. There's a company that will sell cannabis from machines. Did you know that, Carol?
Yeah, because the rich are taking over.
Well, that's the
That's
thing.
why
right.
the real
That's right.
the real guys that really know the weed are underground, and that's why California's not doing good. They've already said that it's not making the money they thought because they took the stores from the people that were originally there that knew weed, knew which seeds to grow it with. So the people are still going underground to buy their stuff, and legally, what are they going to do to you?
But
You
my
can grow 'em
feeling
too.
is just we're just back into that cycle of putting municipal penalties on people, We're back in that cycle of chasing people down. And I just don't feel that marijuana is better where it's at today. So maybe CBD oil is a place where minorities can get in, because CBD oils, if you look at the stuff that Brandon's done, if you look at the stuff that he has, it's just really good stuff.
Well, how would you know?
Well, because he's just topical and people seem to use it.
Did you smoke it to know that?
No, I don't smoke marijuana.
So how would you know?
Because I know
Word of mouth?
Word of mouth.
Okay.
There you go. Absolutely.
You know what? I was talking to some people the other day, which I did with Steve too. A lot of stuff that's out there it's very frightening. We were talking about how weed is different now. I mean, I can honestly tell you, I never had asthma problems before with weed. Mm-hmm. And now if somebody smokes in my house, my ass is real bad right now.
Yeah. Well,
But before it never bothered me, and it's because people think they're putting more stuff into this. Mm-hmm. I think even Steve and them were saying that. It's not the same. It's even edibles. I think with the cookbook that we are doing, mm-hmm. I think it'll do well because it'll measure stuff out and it'll tell people what to look out for.
The thing with our cookbook, and we're putting together a cookbook, is that we're trying to stay with a 7 grams of butter product. So what we are really trying to do, and I think this is where you're getting into trouble with your allergies or your asthma, is people are not refining products. CBD oils.
Yeah, something in the weed flares up my asthma if somebody smokes around me. I mean, it's horrible right now.
It's the smoke.
Yeah, but it never bothered me before. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's something in that smoke that's doing that to me.
In your body chemistry and
no, it never bothered
tolerance.
me. No, it never bothered me before.
It changes over the years.
About 5 months ago, it started bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something in it. Even the smell of it sometimes is different.
But Carol, your body does change. Just
I
with
know
the
it
season.
changed, but I'm just telling you, it's just recent.
Even the atmosphere.
I've even noticed, like, there's people that OD on different things now. That never happened before. It's like when you say edibles, measure the amount and that, but normally you do anyway when you make your butter. But the only thing, when you're doing a recipe, you're going to cut that recipe in half because that'll tell you how potent you want it.
Well, you don't want to cut it in half. You have to stay with our standard.
But what I'm telling you, that's what people do, though, when they bake. Well, I've been baking for years and never had any complaints. And when I baked for people, say a recipe calls for, let's say it calls for such and such flour, this and that, I'll cut that recipe in half and put the butter in there, and it makes it, and they'll tell you the same thing.
But if you add, but we're talking about using a base amount of cannabis in our butter, which is our 7-gram stick of butter.
Well, people do that already. You have to have that on the label of the butter now. Mm-hmm. They want to see that.
On our book, what we were trying to do also, Carol, is we were trying to have stickers which would allow you to label your product as to the amount of cannabis that can be expected. If you're using
that's kind of what I was just saying to you, though. They have started that.
Yeah.
You have to label it.
Yeah,
if you're selling right in those stores, you do have to have that.
Well,
cannabis isn't new to me with baking. I've done it for years.
Who polices that?
Well, we don't really have anyone to police it. It will ultimately
so I can put whatever I want on the damn label.
You can, but ultimately there's going to have to be some accountability, and that accountability will be it'll always start with the manufacturer or whoever's cooking or preparing the product.
Right.
I always tell people, when I used to make cookies, because people liked my stuff.
I'm sure.
I used to always tell them, don't eat the whole thing at once. Give it a chance. Take some bites of it and give it a minute to get in there, because sometimes you eat that whole thing, you're in trouble. Maybe you don't want to be that high. I don't eat edibles myself. I don't like them.
And I think, too, wouldn't that also depend on that individual's tolerance?
Yes.
So, 7 grams to me would be maybe different to someone else.
Well, anyone that's fairly naive, and I think most people are fairly naive to cannabis, so even a gram would be different to you as opposed to me.
You should really let some people come on that have been doing this for years.
Oh, yeah.
don't go by just one or two people.
Oh, no,
There are
no,
people that have been
absolutely.
baking for years. It isn't new. I laugh when people think this is new. It isn't new.
I think that what's really new.
I mean, I had to talk to a woman one day, remember? My daughter would be a good one to talk to because
I think what's new.
knows, like, you can't overcook it either.
Sure, you can overcook
No, you
it.
can't.
Yes, you can.
Well, pull that up.
But I think the thing with cannabis is what is new. Cannabis is not new, but now we're trying to define the actual benefits.
Well,
of
that's
it.
only because they've made it legal.
Well, that's fine. I think you should have some kind of
Well, they
benchmark.
do. I just told you when
Alfie, are you still there?
when I make cookies
still here.
and I buy a thing of butter, and let's just say I use a regular cookie recipe, I'm going to cut that cookie recipe in half because I want it to be strong enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Well,
and
we
people have
understand.
been doing that for years. You don't even smoke,
But we understand
and
that.
you don't bake.
Carol, I don't think anybody's debating that. I think what we're saying is to those people who want to engage and do some baking or using cannabis in their recipes, they don't have any idea how to do it. What I'm hearing Wallace saying is the book that he wants to put out
Yes.
will give you a benchmark, a guideline.
Just definitions. That's
some-
all we're doing.
yeah.
Is
Yeah,
definitions.
I agree with definitions, but I'm just saying when you do recipes, you are going to tell them the amount. It's going to be, you're going to tell them how
Well,
much
you have
flour,
to,
how much
yeah.
this and that. I agree with you with that, but they've done that for years.
Well, generally they maybe have done it for years, but now you're trying to get a designed effect. When you use cannabis, and Alpha, you use cannabis?
No, I do not. Not anymore.
Have you ever?
Yes.
And what was your designed effect? Like, why did you use cannabis?
Because I don't drink alcohol whatsoever.
I don't
It
either.
was a daily, 2-3 times a day scenario where it just.
Do you drink alcohol now?
I still don't drink alcohol.
Yeah, I drink alcohol. Did you watch the football game, by the way?
I didn't think you wanted to even talk about. the
Oh,
football
well,
game, since all of you Rams fans there in L.A. seem to have taken it in the behind.
yeah.
Okay?
Well, it was a little disappointing, but I had a drink, IPA drinks. Are you familiar with IPA drinks?
No, what is that?
IPA, it's a little more potent drink. It's called IPA, and it's just a little more powerful. It's just amazing how we can make things more powerful. And I guess you could. I feel like you could have used it to fall asleep, and I think cannabis you could possibly use that as a sedative. Is that why you would use cannabis nowadays? As a sedative?
It can be. Again, the effect is different with some people. I can sit in a room where people are smoking, get a contact high, and the first thing I want to do is go lay down.
Oh, is that right?
Take
You
a
lay
nap.
down.
Yeah, I'm knocked out
How long does that last?
until I wake up. Could be hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think everything you have to consider what an individual's tolerance is. So even if you say, okay, we're going to do 7 grams of butter in each stick, that's fine. But for some people, maybe you might have to reduce that, or maybe increase it. Just depends on how potent
Well,
you
would
want
just
that
increase
recipe
the
to
amount
be.
of flour that you're baking it with
Yeah.
because that would decrease it.
We have certain drugs. One of the drugs, and this will be the same with cannabis. We have certain drugs where if you give a tiny amount, it makes you go urinate.
Yeah.
That's its designed effect. If you give a little more, it actually will increase your heart rate. If you give a little more, it increases your blood pressure. But you can titrate, and I think we're going to find cannabis is the same way. You can titrate a desired effect relative to how much you give. And I think with our 7 grams of cannabis, which is the butter stick that we're working on, I think 7 grams is probably a sedative. But if you gave maybe 2 grams or 1 gram, I think you may find that you'll be able to increase a person's cognitive ability. So if someone came in here and we got a mild contact high, just a mild contact high, you might find that your ability to focus might be a little different or better.
Or eat a whole bag of Oreos.
Sure. Or it may make you hungry.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gives you the munchies.
It certainly gives you the munchies. So I think what we're finding is that you can titrate this response along a legend of how much cannabis. And mind you, some will be too much. If I give you too much of this product called dopamine, it'll actually kill you.
Right.
It'll actually kill you. Now, can cannabis kill you?
I think anything can. Too much of anything can be devastating. You can drink too much water and die.
You can.
Yeah.
You can.
There was a radio station years ago had a contest about, drinking, who could drink the most water in a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. And one of the contestants actually, I guess she drowned. She died from it. It may have been a guy. I'm not sure.
Could be, yeah. No, I know this happened. What's really remarkable, because I've been looking at the CBD oils that we're talking about today. I don't see where the CBD oils can actually kill you. So that's fairly unique.
Are you basing that on the chemical makeup of it?
Yeah, well, for one thing, the CBD oils, they don't have the THC?
Yeah.
And they are devoid of that blood-brain barrier. You basically have your brain, and your brain will allow a certain size of molecule in. Wherein, have you ever had Benadryl? Are you familiar with Benadryl?
Yeah, I've used it.
How about Claritin? Any of these drugs?
Yeah.
Benadryl and Claritin are very similar. Mm-hmm. The only difference between Claritin is a large molecule, so it cannot pass that blood-brain barrier. Mm. So, and it's the same thing with CBD. CBD is a larger molecule, so that CBD cannot cross that blood-brain barrier. Therefore, it can't make you high or feel different. Mm-hmm. It can only have systemic effects, and those effects may be to decrease inflammation and pain or that kind of thing. But anyway, so that's what that's the difference with CBD. I think CBD oils probably are or will be the thing about marijuana or cannabis that will endure.
So, do you think then, based on what you just said, I think I hear you saying that there are some possible medical benefits to?
There are some topical benefits.
Yeah.
The people that actually rub it in as a rub. Mm-hmm. I don't.
I use CBD.
The oil.
I use it. Yeah, I put it here on my shoulder.
And does it cause that warming sensation?
It makes the pain go away.
Mm-hmm. An old trick.
And I drop things of hemp sometimes.
An old trick that pharmacists can do if we mix anything up, we use these things called rubifacients. What a rubifaciant is like a menthol or a phenol product. So if I had your CBD oil, I would put a menthol or a phenol product in there, and you can smell them. And you can smell them. And you know what those do? They actually increase blood warming to the site. And that blood warming to the site actually allows the CBD to be penetrated better, but it also psychologically helps you. So you'll actually get that warming sensation, and you'll actually feel better. It'll actually help you feel better, but it's not much different than using muscle rub.
It really is different.
And it's different
when
for you.
I use the CBD or the balm, it is different.
Alfie, you use any topical products?
No.
Alfie, I got to find what you're using, Alfie.
I think regular stores now are starting to sell something with hemp in it.
They are.
I
the
seen
regular
an advertisement
stores.
on it.
Yeah, is that what you're seeing in Chicago? Do you see a lot of CBD products in Chicago, Alfie?
I don't see a lot of CBD products here in Chicago, but I don't see a lot of anything.
Do you see a lot of people selling weed in Chicago?
Since I was about 10, yeah.
So do people sell weed in your building? Do people sell weed? I'm wondering where the people who sell weed are at.
They're everywhere. They're literally everywhere, Wallace.
Okay, so
it's not a situation where you got to hunt them down.
Mm-hmm. So when I'm going to the Grammys, and at the Grammys, I don't want to buy weed, but if my daughter or
Nobody's
somebody
going to be
wants,
selling weed in there. They're
nobody
going
will
to
be
have
selling
it.
weed.
No,
They're
no.
going to have it. I
They'll
told
be
you I've worked at the
sharing it with
Grammys.
each
So they'll be sharing with each
I
other.
worked
Ain't
behind
no drug
scenes for
dealers in
years,
there.
Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
And the Grammys
Wallace.
is not what you think.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're going to
Wallace,
have
Wallace,
more fun back there, and
I'm
they,
sure.
they will let you. A lot of them will say, "Yeah, I'll take a picture with you." You can pretend like
get-
they're your
get you
best
some
friend
dark
and
glasses,
post it,
Wallace.
but
Oh, I would like dark glasses.
and do
I
wear a
look-
tuxedo.
do wear a
Get you
tuxedo.
some dark glasses and act like you've been there, and you'll get some weed, okay?
Well, I don't do weed, but I'm just wondering what the disposition's like. So if
Well, if they serve liquor, you think that they're not going to have weed there. Weed's legal now in California.
oh right,
So
right.
why wouldn't they have
So
it there?
could I? So do you think I should take?
They actually, to be honest, they now have clubs. They have shows that you can go to,
Uh-huh.
and they come out first, and they do their comedy act, and then they take a break,
Mm-hmm.
and they pass around everybody a vapor thing, a little
So
thing.
should I take?
When they come
should I
back
take
out,
weed
they're
or
all
should I take
stoned.
vapor or what
Don't
should I
take
take?
nothing.
Don't take nothing.
If it's not something you do, I don't walk around and carry a bottle because I don't drink.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you going to walk around with some weed? Do you think it makes you cool or something?
No. But I want to be
You don't
cool.
need to. You are cool. Be
I am
who
cool.
you
Just
are.
go and have fun.
Just go and be
fun.
who you are.
Go
Go
with the
get some
flow.
dark glasses.
Does
Go
Walter
get some dark
do
glasses, and
weed?
you'll be all right.
I don't know if Walt does weed or not. We never really.
But I'm just saying, be who you are.
Uh-huh.
I've worked behind the scenes, and maybe when I was younger, yeah, I smoked weed with people on sets, but to what, I didn't do none of that, and I didn't care if other people. I've watched people sit and snort coke, and
Really?
I don't think
Do
they're
you
any
think
cooler
people-
than me because I'm not leaning down there sniffing it up my nose.
Do you think people will be smoking coke or snorting coke around me?
I don't think they'll
Yeah.
smoke to do it.
Damn
They
right,
might
you'll
if
be
you
there.
see them put their.
I'm sorry, Alfie. What did you say?
Not everybody
you'll
can
be-
go in the
yeah.
green room, so you won't have to worry.
Uh-huh.
You'll see, it's just fun. You'll have fun. It's a party.
Yeah,
But
I'm
you
really
wanna go
excited
to-
about it.
The fun part is the
You'll
party.
see a lot of one-hitters, too.
I'll see a lot of what?
One-hitters.
What is a one hitter?
One hitter is the little vial. It's like a glass end, and you turn the bottom of it, and it deposits a little coke in it, and you put it in your nose and you sniff.
I
Oh,
don't
no.
think this generation does coke.
I
like
don't.
people
Yeah, I
used
won't be
to.
doing coke.
I don't think they do it as much because
Okay.
talking to younger people, they're totally different. It's like you were saying they don't have sex like they used to. And
It's
I
true.
literally looked it up, and it is true.
Yeah, it's true. People don't have.
I don't think kids are more into, I hate to say this, they're more into heroin, which is terrible.
Into heroin?
Yes.
Yeah, there's an uprising in heroin.
Really,
use.
they're more into heroin.
Lee, you see quite a few people daily. Do you feel people do a lot of coke or don't do as much coke? Or?
I think that coke usage is still alive. And
And
driving
well.
and driving people around, I've had people leave it in my car.
Is that right?
Yeah, weed and cocaine.
Is that right? Is that
Yeah.
right? And when someone leaves coke in your car,
Yeah.
what do you typically do?
He does this.
I get rid of it.
You get rid of it?
I'm
Of
being
course,
funny.
I'm not going to get
Yeah.
busted, on somebody
That's
else's. And I didn't know it was there. It's not like they said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna leave you a little something here." They just left it behind. It might have been on the floor, under the seat, or in one of the cup holders, or something like that. And they're probably high, excited about whatever it is they're about to do. Go to a party. I've dropped off people up into the Hollywood Hills and places
Sure.
like that, Beverly Hills and Bel Air, and they leave shit behind.
You know, it's funny. I know a girl way before Lee and them drove. She was driving these cars, and somebody left a box of chocolates. This fool didn't realize it, and she was eating them.
It was
Or was it cannabis?
Yes.
Chocolate? Cannabis chocolate.
Way before people were really real open with it.
Mm-hmm.
She was driving these Ubers and that.
Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to it.
I think
you'll
you're
have
going to
fun.
have
Yeah.
fun, Wallace.
It's
Oh, I'm
fun.
Go
sure I'll have
there
fun.
and just be Wallace.
I will do that.
You
I
don't have
no
to walk
problem
around and
being
have
Wallace.
pull out your thing and say, "Here, you want a joint?" You'll be an idiot. Don't even do that. Just
Yeah.
be you.
Well, Wallace,
Yeah.
if you don't have your dark glasses, they're going to put your ass out. I'm
Well,
telling you right
I
now.
don't. I'll tell you.
You look like the kind of person we go, oh, he don't belong in. Just throw
Well,
him
no.
Wallace in dark
He does
glasses, they'll
belong
think he's the
there.
FBI.
Wallace.
I think it's fun that his son-in-law's bringing him, and I don't see why he wouldn't belong there.
Oh, no. I'll certainly belong. I am
Just don't come in there with your jar, because you'll look like an idiot.
my jar, so I shouldn't bring my jar.
Oh, hell no. Don't do that. That's not going to make you cool.
I see. So what makes
You
me
think
cool?
just be you. Be you.
Be me.
Be
Lee,
you. Wear your nice tuxedo, and your wife will have her
Yeah, just go
beautiful
with the
outfit,
flow.
and be you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, just
It's
look
not
like
like
a star.
you think.
so tell me,
Don't come in with a bucket either.
what if I meet this kid? What is it? 21?
Savage.
21. What if I meet 21 Savage?
Just be cool.
What
Just
should I-
say,
what-
man, what's up?
What should I say to
I
him?
like your music, man. Do you know any of his music?
No.
Well, then
Okay.
take the time to listen
Yeah,
to some
check
of
him
the
out.
people winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, it's all political. They already know who's going to win.
Yeah,
They pay for the
I
winners.
understand her is going to win. She's the odds-on favorite.
Who?
Her is the artist
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
my son-in-law represents.
Isn't she up against that Dua Lips, though, girl? D-U-A?
Yeah.
It's whichever record company's going to
Dua
pay
Lip-
the
That's not
most
true.
money. That's
no,
who'll win.
Carol, that's not true.
It is paid. It's not what it used to be.
Yes, it is.
I don't think
No,
it's
it isn't.
ever been other than
You
political.
won't see an artist there. If they know, they're not going to win, you won't see them in the audience. You think Beyonce's going to sit in the audience?
Well, I know they move people around,
Yeah.
so I think
No,
there'll
a
be.
lot of people don't go when if they know they're not going to win, they don't be there.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched this with artists.
So, is it going to be safe there for me?
Why wouldn't it be
Why
safe?
wouldn't
You
it?
think someone's
Yeah.
going to rape you?
Well, I'm sure
You're
no
going
one's
to be
going to
with your wife.
I'm worried about
I'm
someone.
going to tell you the same advice I would tell my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let somebody hand you a drink. You get your own.
Yeah.
Because you never know
when
what
I say
people will
safe,
give
I'm
you.
worried about some knucklehead, with the gun that
No.
wants to
Well,
shoot.
that-
people.
I'm
You
sure-
go through
I mean,
things
they have
you don't-
security, right? I'm
Yes.
sure they'll have
Of course.
security.
It's the
Absolutely.
Grammys. It's not the Soul Train Awards.
Well, I wouldn't rule that out.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
I
they
wouldn't
don't
rule
let
it
you
out.
come through. Even at concerts now, when you go to the Greek, you go through a wanting thing now. They didn't used to, but you do now. It's not as easy to walk into these places. I don't think you have to worry.
I wouldn't worry. I would go have a good time and enjoy the event and events.
If I'm licensed
I've
to
been-
carry
I've
a
been to-
gun, should I take a gun?
No, what is
No.
wrong with you? Wallace,
asking questions.
I'm going to tell
Just asking
Brittany and tell
questions.
Wallace leave you home.
No, I'm just asking questions.
No.
Just asking questions.
No.
What do you
When
think? You're going to a gang thing?
Just asking questions.
The Grammys
Yeah.
is all music.
It's all music.
It's country western. It's jazz. It's religion. A lot of it's going to be done before. There's only certain ones they're going to put on TV.
yeah.
Yeah, the smaller categories are not broadcast on TV. And it's hours of the awards
Right.
being given out.
I wonder what time it starts.
I know my
I
son
forget
really
how.
likes his art.
And Wallace,
Yes, sir.
you can't wear your MAGA hat either, okay?
I'll tell you.
And leave the white jacket at home.
I just about started to when I was trying on my my tuxedo. Just as a joke, I started to send a MAGA picture to my son-in-law, but people don't play around with that. That's really
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
you would not.
which is wrong though. To be honest with you, because that's freedom of speech, and if people wants to wear one of those hats,
Okay.
Well, I
It-
wouldn't
it
come
is.
there wearing one of
You
those
would
hats.
or
This
would
is
not?
California.
you would or would not.
Would not.
You would not.
And you have the right to wear it,
Of course,
but just understand you're going to be rejected.
I see.
You
But
know
is
what
that-
else
just
is
understand.
is that right? Is
That's
that-
asking.
You
That's
know what else is freedom of speech? A Klan hood, neo-Nazi swastika.
No.
All of that's freedom of speech, Wallace.
I don't think
But
it's-
you know better. You know better than to wear that, right?
Well, I wouldn't wear that, but I don't think that it's fair to align these kids that wear these "Make America Great Again" hats with Nazism, because that's
I do. I do. And
Why
here's
wouldn't
why.
you?
And
Do
here's,
you think they
and
don't
here's why.
know that the
That's what that
association?
represents. That's what that represents. That represents.
well,
the
it represents
alt-right-
that to you. It doesn't represent that to everyone.
No.
It
Let me
represents
put it
that
like
to
this.
you.
Wallace, when all of this dust is settled, you will find out that Donald Trump is a white nationalist, alt-right, racist piece of you-know-what.
Well, he admitted that he believes that those beliefs are embedded in him, but he puts sugar on it, make it taste a little better. The way he explains it, about being a white nationalist or a nationalist, not white nationalist, but
But
nationalist.
"Make
which
America
is-
Great Again" is not a
When
white.
was America ever great, Wallace? When was America ever great?
America continues to be great. America,
When was it?
when Obama was president,
answer
that's
the
when America
question,
was
Wallace.
really great. I mean, we
Was
really.
it-
Well,
was
then
it
maybe the
great?
slogan should have been "Making America Greater," not "Great Again." Again, what time period did
That's
you?
what my question.
Yeah,
You
was
just
it
dodging
during
the
the
question,
Bushes?
Wallace.
Was it during Reagan?
When was America
or
great?
Clinton? What are we comparing great to?
Well, see, and that's my point.
Right.
You're basically saying make America great,
Again.
which I argue that America's amazingly great. That's my argument. But this is just their slogan.
It is, but what does it mean? What's the dog whistle behind that slogan?
See, it has
Make
become
America great again.
You can't explain it, Wallace.
No,
you
I
can't
can.
explain it.
It
Or
has
answer the
become
question,
a dog whistle.
When was America
You're absolutely
great?
right.
When
But
was America great?
And I argue America was great during periods of the Clinton administration, during periods of the Bush administration, during periods of the Reagan administration, even periods of the Nixon administration. I think America was great, just if you look at their ability to work out their issues with Nixon, to impeach Nixon. So, and to be honest with you, I feel like we're going to get Trump's taxes and we're going to impeach Trump. That's my feeling. But that would make America great again. So if you can be who you are, just like you're telling me to go to the Grammys and be myself, and that's the way. I think that's what making America great again will be. And I think to make America great again, which is, I love the slogan. My feeling is we've got to put Trump in jail. I think that would make America great again. Now, that's not the dog whistle that you're looking for. So when you hear me say that, it's not the dog whistle, but it's still the same phrase.
Where would you put Trump in terms of all of the presidents in your lifetime? Would you say that he would be considered a successful or
The worst.
great
Well,
president
I think
at this
he's
point?
I think he's probably the worst president. When I was born, Eisenhower was president.
You're not that old.
Yeah, I am.
Do you remember Eisenhower?
He was the president when I was born.
When you were born. Okay.
1960.
Yeah, I remember him
Yeah.
as a kid. My dad was an Eisenhower supporter. And my mom was a Democrat. So
Yeah.
I grew up in a split political house.
I think probably the worst president we ever had was maybe Andrew Jackson, maybe, and or maybe not Andrew Jackson, but just before.
No, in your lifetime.
Oh, in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But in my lifetime, I think I feel pretty confident that Barack Obama is the best president. I like Clinton a lot. I like Ford a lot too. I think we've had some pretty good presidents. I think Bush was close to one of the worst presidents we ever had.
Which one?
George W.
Okay.
He was close to one of the worst presidents we ever had, just because he got us involved in that conflict.
Who would you pick if you had to pick between Bush and Trump? Who would you say, well, I would rather have?
Well, Bush, when you look at, if you're going to say, to me, who has killed the most people, who has created the most loss of life, I think right now Bush probably leads that. He's probably created more loss of life just based on his, raiding Iraq and creating that, ignoring the 9/11.
I agree.
So Trump is just the most profuse liar.
Yeah.
Trump is
Not to be
he's probably
trusted.
Not to be trusted. Trump is easily the most
credibility.
deviant, entity we've ever had that we've ever really seen.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, Wallace, as time marches on and the people begin to die from his deregulation of environmental regulations, that's coal soot in the water, people will begin to develop cancers and the rate of cancer development will go sky high because Republicans seem to want to deregulate everything. They deregulated water in Flint, Michigan, and look at what happened. They want to deregulate whatever they can and say it's good for business. And I simply say you have to be mindless. You have to be basically unaware
I think
of the long-term effects of that deregulation has.
I think you're right, and I think there's a real opportunity for Trump with his inability to govern. I think there's a real opportunity for him to be worse than Bush, just because when you look at the perils to our environment, when you look at the perils to our allies, I think we're really at risk to really declining as a country. Our dollar, our financial aspirations, what we're trying to do. When you look at the middle class, I'm hoping to retire ultimately, but I'm wondering if I'll have that opportunity to retire and be able to live live in some prosperity. So, how's the weather in Chicago? We've had this cold, and now I understand it's warm now.
Yeah, it's in the 40s now. Well,
Yeah, it's in the 40s. I anticipate being back there in a couple of weeks, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. That Chicago, you get that water off, that cold freeze off the lake. You still get that lake effect snow?
The lake's still there?
The lake effect snow. Yeah, I love Chicago. Years ago, I went to Cabrini Greens. I think I told you this once before, and I actually had we actually had a car stolen over at near Cabrini Greens. Is Cabrini Greens still around?
No, the Cabrini Greens. All of those projects have been demolished.
Mm-hmm. And now that was a really drug. How did they turn that around?
How do they turn what around?
Cabrini Greens.
You don't turn Cabrini Green around. You level it.
You leveled it
and disperse those criminals to the friendlier neighborhoods. That's how you do that.
In Toledo, Ohio, we have a similar problem, whereas the shootings and the violence is just unbelievable. And I'm wondering, if there's a way to turn that around without just leveling anything, without leveling everything.
Well, Wallace, you have to understand, you're talking about the temperature of an environment, an inner city. What you need to talk about is who set the thermostat. That is the most important thing. Who plunged that community into a hustle camp, a hustle town where only the strong survive and those who hustle and those who can avoid being killed survive. Now, you can talk about what they do right now, but tell me about how it got there. That's how you turn it around. Offering people opportunities, offering people jobs, not bringing in regentrification, and simply that's the bottom line. But you're not going to turn anything around.
But in Toledo, regentrification is what we've seen as the answer. Just because you're getting people that are coming in and they're taking care of properties. So I'm wondering what the answer in Toledo is, and it seems like that's what they did at Cabrini. They moved.
So my question to you is, where do those people go who were not taking care of the property, who were not, it's all relative, Wallace. If you have a community by which the people cannot not survive, the people cannot progress. If your schools are underfunded because your property taxes are basically under the radar when it comes to the amount of funding, when the schools are set up, it's literally set up for failure, and now you have the for-profit schools coming in with the charter schools
so
who
do you feel,
absolutely don't meet the same criteria.
So in a word, do you feel drugs are a result, or drugs are a product, or drugs are the cause of this?
All three, because we didn't stomp our coca leaves here. We didn't start growing marijuana here. All of that stuff was brought. We didn't bring guns here. We don't manufacture one gun here. It's the outlying businesses just on the outskirts of the property lines, where you can go across the street and get a gun.
I wonder how changing the equation, the legal perspective on drugs, on cannabis, how that changes things. Because the guns are still there, and that's what's happening in Ohio, in Toledo. The guns are still there, but we're starting to regulate the marijuana and the drugs. So the killings in Toledo is amazing. I could chat profusely about the killings in Toledo, Ohio, and it's really a national threat. So, and I know that's a little off subject, but I'm just wondering how you fix that. And when I hear Cabrini just leveled the whole place, I'm wondering if we should level all of Toledo, Ohio.
No, it's not.
It'll probably come to that because of the land is more valuable. You know, people are moving back into the inner city all over the country.
Yeah, and that's what
Cleveland, Detroit,
it's a land push.
Yeah.
So now where Cabrini Green was, I don't know if I ran out of the room, but certainly Alpho knows, that's high rent district now. Those are condos.
Very high rent.
Yeah.
Very high rent.
Yeah.
And you know, Lee, the stretch where
condos and apartments.
The Ickeys on 22nd Street, Stateway Garden started on 35th to 39th.
Right.
Robert Taylor started from 39th all the way back to 59th. All of that stuff is becoming prime property.
It's remarkable.
Yeah. Because people want to move back to the city that moved out to the suburbs.
Yeah.
So, well, okay, let's go back. 30, 40 years ago, there was a influx or a movement moving out to the suburbs. The generation or two after that want to come back to the city because they're working in the city and it's more convenient, less commute time, because now to go from Naperville and Bolingbrook and Hinsdale and places like that, it takes you an hour and a half. If you're living down there where there used to be the ghetto, you can jump on a train and be in the loop in 10, 15 minutes or less.
Yeah, that's huge.
So, yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's happening all over the country.
And that's what's happening in Chicago. So Alfie, where do these people go? Where do the Cabrini Greens people go?
Bolingbrook.
They
Is that what
they literally disperse them. They literally disperse them into the other neighborhoods. They become the neighborhood problem. So when you are coming from that environment and you ended up in a suburb or even the outskirts of the city, will that change your behavior? Or will you be out there as a pariah? And that's the question.
I guess my question is, and I guess there's not going to be a way to improve this, but jobs, obviously, in a family structure, that's obviously the way to improve these things. But you have to wonder, and I'm saying this relative to Toledo, Ohio, because it's frightening just to be there with there's so much random violence and just random shootings in Toledo, Ohio.
Well,
it's just
you want to come here.
But it's better?
No, it's as bad, or maybe worse.
In Chicago?
Let me put it like this, Wallace. If you come to Chicago, you better have your stuff wired tight, very tight.
In some parts of Chicago. It's not the entire Chicago land area, but there is pockets, part of the west side and the south side. It's a little dangerous. Yeah,
I'm sure, and I have no desire to put myself at risk. That's for sure. That's for sure. So we were talking about cannabis oil today, and just using. And Alfie, I really appreciate your being a guest, and Lee Michaels, always appreciate you. Carol Lemire, I always appreciate you. This is Mondays with Wallace. We talk every week just about cannabis and just about everything. I was going to talk a little more football, but we didn't get a chance to speak as much football. We're a little disappointed with our Rams losing to the Patriots.
Y'all lost. Y'all lost.
A little disappointing. I felt that some of the officiating calls were just terrible. The officiating throughout the entire postseason just basically,
been rough, huh?
It was rough, but it called the game. When you looked at when you saw Gurley's run and it was called back on a holding.
Yeah.
When you saw easily you could have called pass interference on some of those plays.
Yeah.
You're really at the mercy.
Do you think there were some coaching issues as well?
I
thought it
felt
was
that
some bad play calls.
I
don't know if
felt
that's
that
coach or quarterback
well,
itself.
the better
here's
coach
the deal.
won. That's for sure.
Here's the deal on the play calling. If you notice, the Rams didn't break huddle until 16 seconds left on the play clock. This was to prevent the Patriots from getting the signal from inside the helmet of the signal caller on defense of what to set up. And that was by design. 15 seconds into with left on the play clock, the microphones automatically shut off. That's
I thought that was very interesting, and you're right about that. But
that's league rule. That's why Tom Brady had such a problem, because he was bringing his people to the line before they turned off the sound, and the Rams were basically micromanaging the game from the sideline because they had their list of plays, and they'll probably do this, they'll probably do that, set up in this defense.
yeah,
But what they didn't count on was that Bill Belichick, and especially Tom Brady, are masters at regrouping. And that's what they did. They regrouped.
well, Bill
They
Belichick
regroup.
is the best of the best, and Tom Brady again the best of the best. So I don't think there's
he
any
played
shame.
terrible. Brady didn't do nothing in that game.
Well,
I
It
think
kind
they
of
won the
bothered
game.
me that he's the one the press sits with. It's like he was lousy. He did
But
nothing.
I think that he did the best that he could do, but I think the defense on the Rams shut him down.
Oh, they did,
Otherwise,
for
he
sure.
would have scored
Yes.
20, 30 points.
Oh, for sure. They got
Well,
to
he
him.
did.
They
You got to
knocked
give
him
the
down.
yeah. I think
I
both
thought it was-
defense teams did very well.
I did.
It was a low-scoring game, the lowest ever,
Ever.
in football for Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
that's the story right there.
Yeah. We are just about going to wrap it up. I'm Wallace Peoples. This is Mondays with Wallace. I want to thank Lee Michaels at the Power of Voices studio with Josefa Salinas. I want to thank Carol Lemire. I am Wallace Peoples. We will see you next week. Thanks, everyone. Be sure to share.